November of 2010, I took my solo show, Chop, to the New Orleans Fringe Festival. I recorded a video documentary of the process of going to the Fringe Festival. This is part 2. So we're in our third day of fringing at the New Orleans Fringe Festival, and the show opened last night. Chop opened last night, and we didn't have very many people in the audience, but the show went really well, and I was happy with it. And I got a very nice call this morning from the Fringe people saying, thank you for doing the show for just a couple of people. You've gotten into the spirit of things, and I was there anyway, so I did the show, and it went very well. Took a workshop this morning with Tom Greeter, and last night we hit Bourbon Street, went to the Carousel Bar, and drank whiskey in the same bar where Hemingway drank. And then went to Pat O'Brien's and had hurricanes and mint juleps. We've been handing out a lot of postcards over the last couple of days, and here's what happens, is a fringe artist from another show walks up and says, come to my show, and gives you a postcard, and then you automatically have to draw attention to it, like, oh, this is the point where we need to do the postcard swap, and then you talk up your show. So, Ruth, Andy, Sherry, and I have been doing that for the last 3 days. Every time we talk to people involved with the Fringe, we're like, oh, what show are you in? And they tell us, and then we exchange cards and hope to build up an audience full of artists. Now, the only thing about the Fringe Festival that's hard for artists involved in it is that your show often overlaps other people's shows. You don't get to see everybody's shows because you're doing shows. So that, unfortunately, since this festival is only 3 or 4 days long, that's happening a lot, actually. I've already missed one show that I wanted to see, just because from now on it overlaps our schedule exactly. So, we have the day off today. We're gonna go see some shows. We had a friend, I have a friend in town that I met in Phoenix, Arizona, at the Phoenix Fringe last April, who's from New York, a great solo performer and storyteller named Martin Dockery, and if I get a chance, I'm gonna interview him for the thing. And he's in town doing a show, and it was wonderful just to run into him, because it's a small world. Like, the theater's a small world. And we're going to go see his show and, you know, hit the parties and stuff. So it should be a good time today, and we will continue with our experience at the New Orleans Fringe.
Here he comes. Please give it up for Mr. Brad McEntire. Yay! Dance! This is not a show. This is just for fun. All right, here you go.
So the show that I'm presenting is at Party World over here on Independence in St. Claude, and it is a solo show that involves a man who basically never does anything with his life. Until he stumbles into where he really belongs, an underground culture of amputation fetishists. That's the name, Chop. So, what you're going to see is a little snippet of the show. At this point, he's escaped his childhood, passing through the foster care system, and has arrived in the city. So here I was in the city. And as an added bonus, I wasn't just alone. I was now alone, surrounded by thousands and thousands of people. At this point, I did what most people do when they come face to face with the really big dilemmas in life. I ran away. I traded my stoicism for skepticism, and I took the job that all lost souls must take. Office temp. Now, the life of a temporary worker involves as little responsibility as possible, and let's be honest about this.
That's one of the most appealing things about it. Nothing really hinged on my position as temporary worker. I would just sit there in my little cubicle like a veal and blink. Sometimes I would file things. Sometimes I would answer the phone, sign for packages, but that's about it. I had plenty of time to read. It was a job that required so little of me that's what I gave it. So little of me.
Sitting behind this table, upon which there's this really large platter that is filled with tuna fish, and this platter is the centerpiece for our protest against the killing of tuna, which is a difficult thing to protest against, particularly when you're going to a small liberal arts college in the middle of Ohio, because there's nobody for thousands of miles in any direction who could kill a tuna even if they wanted to. You know? It's like nobody here who even like knows what a tuna even looks like, you know, particularly like the girl that's taken this mound of tuna fish and molded it into the form of a tuna that's being killed. I don't know what tunas look like. I know that they do not look like the child's drawing of a fish. You know, like those birthday cakes you would see, like those ice cream cakes, like, here, it's a fish, you know? But this thing, if you cut into it, it's actually fish, you know? And there are little sticks sticking out of it that I think are supposed to represent harpoons, which really represents that, like, we have no idea what we're protesting about. As little as I know about the slaughter of tuna, they're not being slaughtered with harpoons, you know? And so, like, we're yelling at the people that are coming out of the dining hall, you know, they stop at killing tuna, and, like, no one's coming over and signing our petition, you know, which I understand, first of all, like, we're yelling at them, all right. Second of all, our table, not surprisingly, it reeks of tuna fish, and, like, the stench is thick in the air, you know, and, like, I'm telling you, like, the amount of cans of tuna that had to be opened in order to create this little diorama of a dying tuna fish, and all of it done with nobody questioning the logic of, like, how many tuna have to be killed to facilitate the protest against the killing of tuna.
Wait a second. Ruth, what do you think we should see? You have the Fringe guidebook there in front of you.
Well, there is one this evening at 11 p.m. It's a BYOV, or Bring Your Own Venue, by Snow and Flames. It's a puppetry company out of New Orleans and with Pittsburgh called Calliope Puppets and Highway Puppets. It's based on puppetry, which looks very interesting at 11 p.m. tonight. I'm not sure other than that.
We will continue our search. So it's day 4 of our time in New Orleans at the New Orleans Fringe, and Ruth and I have had a awesome breakfast brunch. We got up late, so it was brunch at the Trolley Stop Cafe, had breakfast food, and now we are in a very awesome Avenue Cafe coffee shop. Tonight we do chop again, and hopefully network and meet some new artists and see some other shows, and we're having a good time. They managed to put her finger back on at the hospital. Now Rosie's okay. I send her flowers and they release her from the hospital the next day. And she calls to thank me. Oh, I love roses. They're beautiful. You know, like your name. Yeah, I get it. You're very thoughtful. Roses for Rosie, right? Pull me up in a chair and doggone me, huh? Anyway, we decide to go out 2 days later. And the whole evening is a blur of images to me. Sights and sounds. Us, of course, walking in the night, holding hands. Me spilling gin and tonic all over my shirt. And the people at the table next to us. And the waiter. And all the tablecloth. And being escorted to another table where I spilled another drink. Anyway, she laughs. And he almost falls out of the chair. And at the end of the night, there's a long, warm kiss. And a couple of days later, we go out again. And then again,
then again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and then again, and I realize I'm in a relationship. I am in a relationship. I'm not isolated. I'm with somebody, and it's good. It's really good. I mean, somehow we just get along. I mean, okay. Her collection of exotic swords and knives that hang on her bedroom wall, that's a little bit bizarre. And she cannot understand my total lack of drive. But she's eccentric. I'm without a sense of ambition. But when she kisses the back of my neck, I see stars. Einstein.
So here we are on the fifth day of our adventure in New Orleans, and I am standing on the 17th floor of the Holiday Inn here in wonderful New Orleans, and taking this video in the reflection of the balcony screen door. My dad, who is a great supporter of the arts, if not just a supporter of me, had hotel points, so he sprang for a hotel for the last day or two of our trip, and Ruth and I are very appreciative. But as you can see in the background is the background of New Orleans, and I'll swing around. There's the Superdome. And nice little view up here. Anyway, we get back here. I'm about to head off to Engel, which is a barbershop here in New Orleans, and I'm going to get a shave, a wet shave. So, we'll do another show tonight at 11 p.m., and it should hopefully rock the socks, and hopefully get a chance to talk to at least one or two more Fringe artists here in New Orleans before we go. That's the update. So I'm over here at Engel, which is a barbershop, old school kind of barbershop, and I've just got a wet shave, and man, I feel like $1,000,000. And as part of the shave, they give you either some whiskey or a beer, and I've opted for the Guinness. So I'm sitting on the patio out here at Engel, enjoying a Guinness on a fine afternoon after having a awesome wet shave. So that's how New Orleans is going so far.
I think this is how people must describe seeing UFOs for the first time. I mean, it must always seem calm and strange at first. And this little concentric spinning light gets closer and closer to me, until I realize it's a kid on a bicycle. The shiny thing that I've seen is the reflector in the back spokes, and the kid gets off the bicycle. You look lost. I am. It's dark. It is. Yeah. Anyway, I was down the road at this farmer's place, and he has a huge bull in a pasture over there. Is that right? Yeah. It's one of those rodeo bulls. My friend Kevo, he says they genetically alter those bulls to make them bigger and meaner and stronger. Well, the world's tougher than it used to be. Yeah. Anyway, this farmer down there, he's got one of those bulls. He calls it Monstro. It's big, too. The bull. Yeah! This is as big as a motorhome. That's pretty big. Yeah! As big as an asteroid. Isn't it kind of late to stand at a fence and look at rodeo bulls? Yeah. But it's too dark, you can't see them. No, I came to walk the pasture. The pasture with the bull in it. Yeah. I just came to walk the pasture.
I don't understand what you mean walk the pasture. Just walk the pasture. I said I don't understand. It's just what it sounds like. I walk the pasture from one side to the other through the darkness. I mean, the bull's in there, but you can't see him. But here's the thing. He knows you're in there. And at any moment, he can run and trample you and kill you dead. That's why it's exciting. That's why it's an adventure. This is day 6, and Ruth and I are about to head off back to Dallas from the New Orleans Fringe. We had our third and last show last night at the venue, and it was mixed blessing. I was very happy with the show. In fact, it was one of those situations as a performer where I hit it out of the park, and I was just thrilled with my performance. The audience was fantastic. They were totally keyed into it, and it was one of those magical theater is happening moments. Unfortunately, there just were not that many people there, and it's something I'm going to have to figure out and struggle with here at these Fringe festivals. Ruth and Kanae actually brought up a good suggestion, is that my play Chop actually is a love story, and I haven't really marketed it as a darkly comic love story. Most times I've actually gotten feedback on this festival that people have said, oh, you had that amputation show. I don't think I want to see that. And so the preconceptions of having amputation in the show, I think, are hurting my ticket sales. So I'm gonna have to really pay attention to how I market it from now on, so that I can fix that. But it's been a great learning experience here in New Orleans. Everybody has been super hospitable. We've got to meet some just awesome Fringe artists from all over the country doing interesting things, and we got to do our show for some new audiences. So on the whole, it's been a fantastic time here in New Orleans. Ruth and I are going to try to go get some coffee and chicory on the way out of town, and then we are, boom, headed back to Dallas. That's the last update of this video mini documentary that I'm putting together. So, from Brad McEntire, from Audacity Theater Lab here with the show Chop, and Ruth Engel behind the camera, thanks for watching.